Hi, welcome to day 4 of the 9 candles, and today is Lilac Lantern Day. Yay!
Hi. Hi,
Canadians,
Nancy Jean.
you made it across the border
You did.
electronically. And as you know, we start this by lighting the candles, and I'm going to put the pictures on the candles so they look pretty. And these are the 9 candles, and each of them, what we're building towards is we're actually going to flow over the day of the equinox, which is the 22nd. And then on the 25th, which will be the last day of the 9 candles, is the new moon. And that's when you've thought your way through these days, you've looked at your intentions, you've thought about the Earth's energies. On the 25th is the day you can write your list of intentions. And that's a new moon day, which is a perfect day to do that. So we're going to start as we normally do. Oh, yeah. Fairy stone in the middle. This is it's a part of a geode. It was obviously part of a geode. That is a very, very, very faint looking sort of amethyst pink, but is actually sold as a fairy stone. It is a distinctive kind of a geode. It's a distinctive kind of very, very light amethyst, and it's really pretty. It's got pink, blue, and purple in it.
Beautiful.
Hey, so 9 candles in touch with the equinox. Equal night, equal day, balance of the light and the dark. As the daytime shortens to the point when the ley lines, energetic nerves of our planet, straighten and stay in balance. It is time for all of us to connect with the elements of our planet. At this time of rapid change, we pause to consider our own boundaries. And with this ritual, we consider where we have been and where we are going. Small rituals, personal and those shared with others, help us connect with our evolving selves and connect or reconnect with others. Love and hope, light and warmth, our world needs them all.
Beautiful.
It's too hot. I'm not allowed to burn myself up. I got new candle holders, so I've got glass candle holders on a glass plate. So hopefully.
And I have a little red candle here too.
Very good. Very good. So, you, Andrea, and I have been discussing beforehand a little bit about Earth energy and the ley lines and how the photonic change that started in 2017 has piled a lot of energy in on us, and how all these things are changing and how we need to connect to it. And for those of you who, I can't imagine how you could not be familiar with Andrea's stuff, but she's created meetings, certain times when people meet and do astral projections and stuff, which is also the same thing. It's sending your energy out there and feeling it in certain places. So I'm going to let her talk a little bit about her experiences with these kinds of energies and elements. Maybe it'll help you focus on it a little better and how to use it. Okay, there you go, kid.
Yeah, just talking a little bit about, so I call them dream meetups, where anyone can join in. It's really easy. You just go to sleep when you go to bed at night. And I pick a spot on Earth or maybe a planet, who knows? And you set your intentions before you go to sleep to meet up there. Sometimes I might suggest a color or a shape just as a familiar. So if you're dreaming and you see the color blue, you're like, oh, that's what, because some people are very active in their dream state, right? And can remember and engage instead of just being a watcher in the dream, engage in it and be active within the dream. So those have been really fascinating, and I love hearing the feedback from everybody. I do a recap show and people give their feedback, and a lot of us are seeing and remembering similar things. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. I love it. And you get a sense in different places, right? You can feel the place. So that's in the dream state, but in a waking state, I also can sense that too, as you were talking about backstage, is the ley lines. And I love that you say it's like the nervous system of the planet. And that would make sense, that energy you can feel. To me, one place where I've felt the most energy is, and I think I may have mentioned it before, is Peggy's Cove in Nova Scotia. Now, that's my personal experience, right? That's where I really feel something's going on there. Like it's bigger than me. Do you know what I mean? Like it feels bigger than the earth. It just feels like there's an energy happening there. It's something I can't quite put into words. I love the energy there. That's my favorite place. And then other places you go, you're like, ooh, I don't like that vibe, right? You can sense. And one place I went where I thought I would love, and I didn't, was Hollywood in California. I thought when I got to Hollywood, I wouldn't want to leave. And I went there years ago, and for some reason, the vibe there, I just thought, I want to get out of here. I couldn't wait to leave. Isn't that strange? So there's some kind of energy there that I was not liking at the time. Maybe it was just that time, or maybe it's still there. I don't know. So for me, yes, definitely I feel energy forces in different places where I visited. And some places are pretty neutral, and some places you can really sense deeply on a level that you can't quite explain. And you're like, then you realize it's something bigger than you, right? Like,
Right.
it's an energy happening here.
Right.
And go ahead.
One of the things they say about being around the lake, or about how the energetic changes are happening on the earth, is the more great and positive energy that's put around something, then that helps that grow. Okay. So you can imagine in California, in Hollywood, how much energy there isn't really positively productive. Is that a nice way to put it?
Yeah.
You know? And so you get it could be disruptive. The other thing is to throw another thing into the mix. There's a study of astrology called astrocartography. And what you do is they take your birth date and then they project it on this, they project where the planets were in the day you were born, and then they draw lines down through, and it tells the parts of the earth you're happiest.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah. So if you know, I know Dorothy and I were talking about that because that has something to do. She's now looking at how that, Dorothy Morgan's an astrologist, seeing how that ties together, but she does that kind of work. A lot of astrologers do make sure they've been doing it for a while, but it's really a fun thing because I always wanted to live in London. And every time I've been to London, I can walk around the city without a map. And, you know, it's kind of a crazy ass city.
Yeah.
And my husband, who was raised there, when we went to visit his family, I kept saying, no, the Thames is this direction. And he said, I grew up here. How dare you tell me where the Thames was? So we walked 2 blocks and we weren't finding the Thames. And I stopped and I said, where's the Thames? And I pointed the way I wanted to go. And Bill said, how come you know? You take me to Lincoln Inn's Fields and I can take you to every building where the old Curiosity Shop was with Dickens. I can walk that whole place like I grew up there. And but I was told by 2 different people that do astrocartography, my life would have been a disaster. The energies for me in London are so bad.
Oh dear. I
Not
wonder
that
if
I
you had a
can't
past,
enjoy it.
do you think you had a past life there?
Oh yeah, I died in a bombing in World War II. I can't imagine why that would have affected.
Yikes.
Yeah. Yes.
And while you were saying backstage that it's the nerve lines of the earth, I started to think about what came right into my head is, you know, our human body, when our nerves are frazzled, if we don't have enough vitamins, enough sleep, enough water, right? You can start to feel frazzled and your nerves are shot. It's a sort of a term, right? Then I was thinking about the earth. If we're not healing it and keeping it healthy and giving it its nutrition and sleep and whatever, are we affecting those lines?
Oh yeah, if you hold on till, I think he's going to be day 6 or day 7, Johann von Wick, who actually fixes them,
Okay.
he's going to be on talking about
That.
feeling the energy of the earth. And he's just a person that was kind of like you and me, sitting around one day. He really, it's not his profession at all. He's a cinematographer. He was woken up and they said, we're giving you a shield. We're giving you this information. You have to go into the mountains in South Africa and fix things. And he went, what? And he's been all over the world. I mean, he astrally projects all over the world now, but there was a lot of disruption in South Africa because Australia ripped off from them. So where did the ley lines start? The theory is from the people that have channeled in that information. No one has come personally. No angel has shown up and told me this. But when we were Pangea, when we were one continent, they were created.
Okay.
And it's energy. The energy that keeps the ley lines sort of connected is our solid core, the nickel iron core that's at the center of the earth. That's how come we have magnetic fields and stuff. And with them being bombarded now by the photons, that energetic ball is growing. That's why they think the ley lines are growing. The energy at the center is growing, and it sends out waves. That's that. Remember, Schumann resonance was always 7.38 or something, and now it kind of wanders. Well, that Schumann resonance wandering is part of this. And the ultimate journey is you may want to be on Peggy's Cove on a certain date in 2024, because that's the day that the core is going to get full, and it's going to ring like a bell, and it's going to wah, 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 wah out across the whole world. And if the ley lines aren't connected wherever they're disconnected, it will cause problem. I don't think it's like cause earthquakes or things like that, but it's going to cause just energetic disruption.
Yeah. Wow. What day it's in 24?
They don't know. They don't know. They just know. They used to say sometime between 24 and 26, and now they're saying it's 24. I don't know if the people because the geobiologists are what they're called. They're the people who watch this kind of energy on the earth. And Rory Duff's sort of the one people most know. You can find him on YouTube. You can find him on the internet. He has a newsletter that he publishes if you're interested in that part of it. But they're watching. They consider Gaia to be a living place. And they consider, and of course, they've known that this happens on the planet, and we have a shift of consciousness every 12 to 13,000 years. And the reason they know that is because they can see the increase in photons that have come onto the planet in the ice cores. When they core, they kept seeing this change, and they'd look and they'd go, was there a volcano? I mean, they kept trying to figure out what it was. And it was this in 2017, when we moved out of a cloud that was in the universe. It was protecting us, kind of like the solar shield protects us from the solar rays. We moved out of a place in the universe that protected us from the subatomic particles. And so now we're just getting bombed with them. And there are some scientists who believe it's actually shifting our own DNA.
I could believe that.
So it's raising our consciousness, because like somewhere close to 90% of our DNA used to be called junk DNA. It was just sort of there holding everything together. Well, things are shifting in that area. So
yeah, it's not junk. It's there for a reason.
It's there for a reason. We're not done yet. We're just not done growing yet.
Right? We're little babies. And you were asking about rituals as well.
Right. What do you do that grounds you, centers you? What do you bring to the party? I know you do your thing with your dreams, which is an incredibly powerful collective ritual, but what do you personally do?
Well, what came to my mind is when I enter a space such as a forest or a beach or a body of water or some type of natural space, so versus like a city, high rises and all that. I was thinking about it a lot since you asked me, and I realized that every time I go to somewhere wooded, like a forest area or a beach or lakefront, I always take a moment before I step into it. So right sort of at the edge of where I would feel like I'm there. If it's the beach, I would stop and put my feet in the sand and close my eyes and honestly get in tune with the waves and the sounds and the vibrations. Really, and getting into that space. Same with the forest. If I'm there at the beginning of the forest trail, let's say, I stop and I look up at the trees and I close my eyes and I get a sense of the wind, the smells, like, do I smell pine tree? Is there, the smell of moss, all that kind of thing. So really becoming one with the environment. I didn't realize I was doing that. I mean, I didn't consciously realize I was doing that, I guess. And I think it heightens the experience, because you're entering what I would call sacred space, these beautiful pieces of nature, and kind of becoming one and tuning into that vibration, completely different than if you were going to go downtown New York or Toronto or something. It's a completely different vibration. Completely. Like, I love it. And then getting things like, I love to get rocks. This one is really interesting with all its layers, or things like shells from the beach, right? I believe these things have vibrations and energy and memory. And so if I can't be at the beach, I can hold this and kind of tap into that energy or that ley line again, or that harmony. So yeah, again, if people are going to go out for a walk or go for a swim or something like that, take a minute first and start to feel the space, start to feel that piece of nature. It's beautiful, very healing.
Oh, yeah. Well, it puts you in touch with it, and you're not bringing it. I think we give nature a point at that point in time, a way to heal us.
Yes.
Reach out and soothe.
Kind of mutual, right? It's this
right.
intertwining of ourselves. And I always feel better when I come out of the ocean or the forest. Like, I feel my energy's changed.
Yeah.
From being in that, I don't know, holy space or whatever you want to call it. Beautiful space. Much different than a concrete jungle.
That's true. It's true. And where some of the places that have ley lines that meet through them are the stone circles in Europe. And there's Native American mounds here. There's pyramids all over the world. And there's also, you'll find all of a sudden someplace someone will have built something that looks like a spire or look like an obelisk or something. Like, but why? It's here. Why? And they'll find ley lines go into that. Ley lines increase our ability to feel in such a way that we almost hear it.
Yeah.
And our subconscious. And so
there's a reason why they've done it in history.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a surprise that the pyramids and everything else are on these lines together. There's a reason. And we were just talking backstage as well about the Templars. That, were they following ley lines? Were they, where they were hiding things or doing things or building things? These our ancestors had a reason.
Well, they were following energies that they were still connected enough to.
Yeah.
Able to follow it. We've gotten disconnected.
Yes.
And in getting disconnected, that's what the elementals told me when they told me to do this series. They said, we need you. We need humans to, you can get to be 4D and 5D, but if you're not connected to this earth, and they said that's why we could see the people that were told about in fables. They weren't just fables. They were actually there. And we, and as we get more and more connected, more and more of you are going to get to ride on dragons and go see them. And they're going to become more obvious. There's a town, it's in Northern England or in Scotland, but that people see fairies there all the time. There's a lot of psychics who live there because they like it. They feel them around them all the time. And it's a sacred place for a whole lot of these, the lines when they all cross each other are called nodes. It's a node, and it's a place that they can come and go. And and yeah, there's no reason to be afraid of them. Sorry for my COVID shot voice.
Oh.
I got it 2 days ago, and I won't get sick, but it's just kind of for a couple days. But that's that's part of what is going on, because you can get to be all the 4, 5, 6, all the D's you want to get to. But if you're not connected to where you start,
Mhm.
then and Gaia needs us now. It's going through
Yes.
so many changes. And
We need to be in harmony with Earth,
right.
1000%, and giving our love to Mother Earth,
Mhm.
Gaia. You know, I always ask for the earth, the air, the water, the soil, all of that to be healthy.
Mhm.
I say that every day. I ask for that every day. That's what we need, and the animals and the mammals and everything.
Yeah. Your critter that just walk behind you, yeah.
Yes.
But that's what this is about. And I think you brought out a very good one. If you go out into nature, to acknowledge nature, and that there are special holy, we don't have to build cathedral. We don't have to build
Build
a
a
mound.
temple.
We
Yeah.
don't have to do a temple. Although I will tell you, in all the places where they have those, the acoustics are very different.
Mm.
If you stand in the center of those circle of rocks, for some reason, I've seen people that investigate them. They're the acoustics are very different in them,
It's
and
amazing what our ancient ancestors knew that
yeah,
we are so oblivious to.
and it took them centuries to build those things, and they still, the cathedral. I've been in the National Cathedral in Washington D.C. several times, and I actually took their little audio tour and went and felt all the different nooks and crannies of it. And it is every bit as magnificent as the ones in Europe. And I toured with many of them. But cathedrals are just, for me, they always were magical spaces. And of course, I'm Christian, so I'd feel more welcome there. But when we took Patrick to England when he was 4, we called it our Castles, Cathedrals, and Toilets tour. Because when you tour with a 4-year-old, you're going to go to every toilet in every city that he can find. But what he liked about the cathedrals was he got to light candles. So that's how we keep them contained. Well, if you stay here, then we're gonna go over and light candles. And they're all over the place. So he got to light them, and he just thought that was so much fun.
Well, there's definitely an energy in cathedrals and churches and temples. You can feel it. Like most people can feel
Mm-hmm.
there's a different energy in it. But as we were saying, there's the cathedral of earth.
That's right.
You
And
can
we
go
have
to the forest or the
Mhm.
ocean or a lake or the top of a mountain or the base of a mountain and feel that majestic energy. And I love that I didn't realize I was taking that time to acknowledge or be grateful or to
Mhm.
become one with it before I stepped into it. So
Yeah.
I didn't know I was doing that, but that's what I was
See,
doing.
we all have our own little things we do that we don't do them consciously. And now is the time when the earth needs us to do it consciously.
Yes. So more conscious effort.
And like I said, on the 22nd, which is the equinox, when this is really true, when the equinox and solstice 4 times a year, the earth, in essence, stops its energy, locks it in, and says, I'm here and still, kind of like you do before you go into the, and
Oh,
yeah, and so it's sort of like, okay, the earth says, and actually, um, they say it's actually the day before the Christian calendar makes it equinox. It's on the Jewish calendar. The equinox is the day before. Solstices are kind of the day before. So it's on that day that the earth stops its energy flow and then starts it up again and acknowledges, I need to stop now. I think we're like that too. I think you do that when you go in the woods. You're just doing your own little equinox and solstice.
yeah.
And then what you do then is you consider, I've stopped, what am I doing here? And then on the 25th, which will be the day that the 9 candles closes, it's a new moon. And if you know anything about the lunar cycles, which is another cycle you can tie into, and you don't have to go anywhere because it's going to happen whether you like it or not. When the new moon is a tight little seed and you can't see it, that's when you plant your intentions in that seed and then you let them grow as the moon grows. So that's how all this ties together, guys.
Mm-hmm. The ebb and the flow of it.
Right.
Yeah. Nice.
I know. And
Wow.
see, and all this stuff's been happening all your life, and you're like, oh, it's just another day. But no, it's not.
Well, now you start to understand. Like, I'm starting to understand a lot more about my life and things I've known. I'm waking up even more.
Mm-hmm. And it helps you. And, it kind of gives you a sense of commonality because we're all going through this together.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we might want to say, no, you do it that way over here, and I'm going to do it this way over here. That's kind of okay, but just don't be negative.
Right.
It's all in a positive flow.
Positive flow.
Okay, well, Andrea has to get back to saving Canada.
Indeed.
Well, we're doing our part down here with our elections. Okay, we're going to blow out the candles now. And as we blow them out, we set our intentions and our prayers for the day. And we will look forward to seeing you tomorrow on day 5. And I'm going to come back and say goodbye to Andrea face to face. Goodbye to everyone. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Same time, same place. You'll get your notifications. And take care. Want to say
Thanks for
goodbye?
having me.
Well, thank you for coming. Bye.